Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has waded into the credibility of the Nigerian election. Now, the question about Obasanjo is that his opponents are telling him that, Chief Obasanjo, you are not a neutral party in this matter. You have already declared support for the likable Peter Obi, and so you cannot come and talk about the credibility of the elections at this stage. Never mind, Obasanjo was a two-term president of Nigeria, a very important person. I'm going to show you what he said. This is what Obasanjo told the press.
But he cannot fold his hands and do nothing when he knows that election process has been corrupted, and most of the results that are brought outside beavers and server are not true reflection of the will of Nigerians who have made their individual choice. At this stage, we do not need wittingly or unwittingly to set this country on fire with the greed, irresponsibility, and unpatriotic act of those who allegedly gave money to INEC officials for perversion and those who collected the blood money. Let me appeal to the chairman of INEC, if his hands are clean, to save Nigeria from the looming danger and disaster which is just waiting to happen. If the chairman can postpone elections 4 days to the election 4 years ago.
That was General Obasanjo's call. What call did he make for the elections to be postponed? Now, guess what happened? The ruling APC party, which is also taking a lead in the election results, then came ferociously with a big response to Chief Obasanjo's assessment and advice. This is what APC said.
That is General Obasanjo telling us no election is perfect anywhere in the world, and that the US, the British, and others, they told him that they even had dead bodies' names on their ballots, and yet those elections were not cancelled. And this is the same man now moralizing and pontificating, huffing and puffing that elections should be cancelled. You can see the sheer selfishness there because his candidate is losing. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, quickly, we also want to just quickly comment on the joint press conference held about an hour ago or 2 hours ago by the PDP, the Labour Party, and I think the ADC, if I'm right. We prepared this statement before that press conference, so we just, the demand, especially the demand they made at that press conference. So I want to take just 2 minutes or 3 minutes to respond to those demands. The national chairman of all the parties, the three parties were there, and they have made 3 demands, 2 or 3 demands. And they have called for a total cancellation of the electoral process, of the whole election. 2, called for Mahmoud, the chairman of INEC, to step aside and that they have no faith in him again to conduct any election, and any other person within the commission should take over. And they called for an intervention of President Muhammadu Buhari in the process. They're actually calling for the president to intervene, to interfere with the process, and do their bidding. Because of time, respond to those demands. First of all, those demands are not possible under the law. The national chairman of INEC, seated at the National Collation Center, is the national returning officer for that purpose. And if you look at the provisions of the Electoral Act, at every point of the collation process, the officer who makes that return at the unit level, the ward level, it is final for that purpose. I repeat, any officer at every level of the collation process, look at section 45 of the Electoral Act down to about 70 or so, which itemizes how those results are collated. So once a unit officer makes a return, for instance, under the old Electoral Act, when there's a complaint at a unit level, the unit officer, can take all his complaint to the ward level, and then make his complaint, and then at a higher level, they will review what has happened and make a decision at the higher level, at the ward level or the local government level. But under the new Electoral Act, and I think my elder brother at the bar, Chief Olanikbeku, made that point 1 month before the election, that it is a dangerous provision of the law. That now the returning officer is final for that purpose. So just quickly, the unit officers who made the return and appended their signature on forms E8 is, so the ward officers, that's final, local government officers final, state returning officers final, the recs. And then when it comes to the National Collation Center, the national chairman has national returning officer, which national chairman has no powers under the law to review what all those returning officers have done. All your complaints should have been resolved at that level. If the national chairman at the National Collation Center now attempts to say, now I want to review what happened in this ward or local government, he's constituting himself into a tribunal. Once a return has been made, it is only an election tribunal that can interfere with that return. And lastly, for the second one, is that the process as it is now must be completed in law before you can even look at any complaints.
Okay, so it looks like there's a lot of jostling going on.